Nola mayonnaise, original or tangy, for just $32.99. It's low prices for you every day at Spar.
There's no price like the ShopRite price, which means you'll get low prices on everything you need, like Surf hand washing powder, just $49.99, and Farmer's Choice frozen mixed chicken portions for just $179.99. The ShopRite price, the price you can trust always.
Lontavera disongoshira verera ontasera.
Good evening, dear viewers, and welcome to the News Bulletin at 8, brought to you by a number one news provider, Eswatini TV. I am Nundumiso Vilagada alongside Namakabiso Nkambule. Let's take a look at our news-making headlines. The Ministry of Home Affairs has announced that there will be free transport for Emma Swati, who will be attending Sibaya next week, Monday. The Principal Secretary in the Deputy Prime Minister's office, Melusi Masugu, says the government of Eswatini is determined to support and better the lives of children from child-headed families. The Parliament of Eswatini has oriented members of Parliament on standing orders and the country's constitution. And now the news in detail. The Ministry of Home Affairs has announced that there will be free transport for Emma Swati, who will be attending Sibaya next week, Monday. Chief Celebrations Officer James Vilagati said this during a press briefing held at the Ministry of Home Affairs offices in Babane.
Pick point. Pick point pick point leqisa songana sive Swati. Lesiva kwasebenzisa yonke lemkhosi lebakhona eveni. Angicala ngahobe kunene sifundisa kahobe kunene isipeki emabhasi mabili endvonjeni emabhasi mabili ebuhleni emabhasi mabili kaDokolwako emabhasi mabili emotshane emabhasi mabili embangweni ibhasi yinye embuluzi ibhasi yinye ehokweni ibhasi yinye. Siphunze kunene singena esifundeni saseshiselweni. Kugege kunene ibhasi yinye embangweni emabhasi mabili ehlothi ibhasi yinye emathanjeni ibhasi mabili esandleni ibhasi yinye emthambama ibhasi yinye enkwena ibhasi yinye emonti ibhasi yinye. Kunene siqhubeke singena esifundeni sakaManzini. Kamanzini bakunene kusekhana emabhasi amabili kalamgabhi igasi yinye entondozi ibhasi yinye emavuso training center ibhasi yinye enhlambeni ibhasi yinye embekelweni ibhasi yinye emkhweni ibhasi yinye. Siqhubeke bakunene siye esifundeni saselibonjeni. Kalamasha bakunene kunebhasi yinye etshanini kunebhasi yinye Kumalinza ibhasi yinye eStake Park emabhasi mabili Mambane emabhasi mabili Mbolenjeni ibhasi yinye noHlupheko ibhasi yinye Nsoko U-Tech ibhasi yinye esipofaneni mabili. Bekunene lamabhasi atababambisene ama-trucks leta lanza lemphakathini abisela kuma-pick points.
The Principal Secretary in the Deputy Prime Minister's office, Melusi Masuku, says the government of Eswatini is determined to support and better the lives of children from child-headed homes. Masuku was speaking at Ekpheleni area under the Mojane constituency during the house handover to Gcinile Masuku.
Under the child-headed household farming program under the Deputy Prime Minister's office. The Deputy Prime Minister's office has built a two-bedroom house for Gcinile Masuku of Ekpheleni area, who previously lived in a stick and mud house which was in a dilapidated state. The Principal Secretary in the Deputy Prime Minister's office, Melusi Masuku, speaking when handing over the house to Gcinile, says when they started the project, there was just over 100 child-headed families around the country.
Nangingaveta nje inombolo letikhona lamhla sesita 624 webantwana velonke.
The Secretary General of the Baphalali Eswatini Red Cross Society, Denjan Hlabati, says through the help of other stakeholders, they will assist the Deputy Prime Minister's office under this program.
Yindlu leyakhiwe ngekusekelwa ngetimali yinhlangano yemagesi kaNgwane.
Hlabati says this house has been built through the help of the Eswatini Electricity Company, which has built 5 other houses for the needy. The beneficiary, Gcinile Masuku, who lives with her 2 children, says she lacked a million words to thank the Deputy Prime Minister's office. She says she still cannot believe her eyes. Gcinile says unlike others who would pray for a rainy weather now and again, she prayed for the opposite because of the condition of her previous house, as they would be up until the rain is over. Koti Dlamini spoke on behalf of the Ekpheleni chiefdom. Dlamini asked that no family member must then claim the house to be his or hers or kick Gcinile out because they were not there during her struggle. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Kian Msibi with Smova Shongwe, Ekpheleni.
The Parliament of Eswatini has oriented members of Parliament on standing orders and the country's constitution. The Clerk to Parliament, Benedict Gaba, says these 2 documents are the backbone of the operations of the Parliament.
Following the swearing-in of the members of the 12th Parliament and the Speaker of the House, Jabulani Mabuza, together with the Deputy Speaker, Madala Mhlanga, being blessed by their Majesties, the Parliament of the Kingdom of Eswatini hosted a workshop for the newly sworn-in honorable members of the August House on the current standing orders.
The basics for the 12th Parliament and what we need to get, it is the Constitution and the standing orders. We are here now currently then orienting them about the standing orders, which really clarifies how should an MP conduct himself, whether in the House or also in the public. Also, they need to understand the role of the importance of the Constitution and the importance of the standing orders. So we feel these are the basics that they need to get. And also the code, the dress code of an MP, the appearance of an MP to the public. So this will help the MPs just to gain the basics.
The Parliament is yet to host an induction for the 12th Parliament. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Samgal Suekoza with Sikombuzo Dlamini Ezulwini.
Being a member of the African Regional Labour Administration has benefited the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, as many of its employees have been trained on labour laws which will be beneficial for the public service. This has been said by the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, Makhosini Mdawe.
Last week, Eswatini attended the African Regional Labour Administration meeting of the Committee for Senior Officials of Labour and Employment in Lesotho. The Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, Makhosini Mdawe, says despite deliberating on issues of policy, they also touched on how the programs offered by the labour organization can be strengthened.
Sibuka lalabanako ngoba basebenta ka labor sibuke kona bese siyabenhancer lokunye kuma refresher courses like i-labor law nje thola sivele bawadi lo mthetho but ke bese siyabakhumbuza si ILO International Labour Organization ngemthetho wakhe kunanako uma sokuvelele okusha nakhona siyakufaka kule syllabus yabo nakulokusha losokuvelile tisebenzi sithi khulumisa kanjena sithi treata kanjena baqashi nanabo kufanele babehave kanjena situation i-conflict for instance simakhe nje ay-parasitale lakhaya nabo lapha solo balakithi nabo lapha solo ba benefit labo for conflict resolution and labor disputes as well.
The Principal Secretary says every year Eswatini sends officers for short courses at the Regional Labour Administration with the intent to capacitate them on labour laws so that they can be better equipped with information to work on labour conflicts. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Ngamandla, Muzimkonda Mbabane.
Medical supplies will arrive in the country late this month or early November as the new tender for this financial year was secured on the 1st of this month. This is contained in a press statement released by government spokesperson Alpheus Nxumalo. Nxumalo states that government is aware of the shortages as the Central Medical Stores is only able to deliver 50% of the needed medicines per facility. He says there are still major gaps in some essential medicines like family planning, malaria and non-communicable diseases medicine. He says suppliers have been paid over 127 million emalangeni and payments are still ongoing. On another note, the government spokesperson has further stated that the acting Prime Minister Chief Mkwakwa has met the management of the Look Commission several times to explore possible support from government and donors so that it can be fully operational again. The National Payment System Act of 2023 will ensure safe and swift payments in the banking and non-banking sector. The Deputy Director Operations at the Central Bank of Eswatini, Mandla Dlamini, says the act complements well the newly introduced National Payment Switch system, which is being rolled out in the financial sector.
As the business community and eMaswati prepare for the festive season, this means more transactions, some even online in-country and outside Eswatini. The Central Bank of Eswatini says systems are implemented to ensure safety during transactions in the financial sector.
The Central Bank of Eswatini actually is working hand in hand with the industry, that is both the banking institutions and the other non-bank payment service providers, to roll out or to implement or to build a switch in Eswatini that will process all domestic transactions. The government of Eswatini has been able at least to repeal the old National Clearing and Settlement Systems Act of 2011 and put in place a National Payment Systems Act 2023.
Chairperson of the Federation of Eswatini Business Community, Johannes Manigela, says the payment switch will drive high business performance and profits.
Delay transition. The more transition ye business iba fast,
Business Eswatini's Chief Executive Officer Nathi Dlamini says this new payment system will strengthen their position in the market.
It's a game changer in terms of conducting transactions in this kingdom. We think it is timely. We have been bemoaning the absence of the system for many, many years. And today it looks like we are just in the cusp of realizing the dream. And it is therefore against that backdrop that we'd like to really praise Central Bank.
The payment switch is Central Bank's way of ensuring safety for eMaswati whilst doing transactions and also increasing operational possibilities for businesses. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Ngamandla, Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Mbabane.
Eswatini is currently implementing the second phase of the Enhanced Transparency Framework supported by Climate Action Transparency ICAT and the United Nations Office for Project Services. Speaking at the project's inception workshop at Hilton Garden Inn in Mbabane, the Deputy Director of Eswatini Meteorological Services, Duduzile Nhlengetwa, says this phase is a continuation of the first phase, which focused on adaptation in health and water sector and impact of biomass electricity in Eswatini.
As the world continues to face complex challenges that negatively affect human well-being as a result of climate change, Eswatini has not been spared. The Eswatini Meteorological Services has met different stakeholders to find ways to strengthen the country's resilience to climate shocks and find innovative policy solutions.
On the energy sector, we found that there is need to strengthen our work by coming up with a policy for bioenergy, because it is one of the areas that we can use to reduce emissions for the country while providing sustainable energy. We also going into the adaptation sector, where we are concentrating mainly on health and water. These are sectors that are affected by climate change, so we also need to be able to monitor how we're building our resilience, in particular with reference to what we committed in the NDCs.
Eswatini has committed to reducing gas emissions by up to 14% by the year 2030. This is contained in the nationally determined contributions which the country submitted to the United Nations last year. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Langamandla, Vuminkosi Nzinisa Mbabane.
The MTN Foundation has financially supported 5 youth empowerment institutions with 950,000 malangeni. The MTN Foundation says they will continue supporting them financially in their programs.
The 4 youth empowerment institutions that were financially supported are SEDCO, Junior Achievement, Youth Enterprise Revolving Fund, and Young Heroes. The main objective of the MTN Foundation is to see growth in young people and their businesses. The MTN Head of Corporate Services, Sibusiso Nhleko, says they are determined to support the youth in the country.
These are organizations that work with young people, they empower young people, they focus on entrepreneurship and skills development, which is an area we're very much passionate about as the MTN Foundation, which is youth empowerment. We have had today testimonies from young people who have been positively impacted by these programs. And we continue to support young people, and we look forward to continuing to partner with these organizations.
Ketu Mhlanga thanked on behalf of the beneficiaries.
For us, what we appreciate with MTN is the fact that they've noted that we shouldn't leave out the youth. The youth are the ones who are going to drive this country. And by using the entrepreneurial aspect of it, we know that SMEs are the ones that drive the economy. They create employment.
They say they have seen the number of young people entering these programs grow, thus the need for more funding. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Kian Msibi with Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Ezulwini.
The National Disaster Management Agency has encouraged the Maswati to ensure structural integrity of their houses now that the summer season has begun. NDMA's Communications Officer Wandile Mavuso said this during an interview with Eswatini TV.
Siyaxwayisa ukuthi isivo samaswati asilungele sicheke tindlu tato ukuthi tilungele yini ukuthi tingamelana netimvula letawuna ngemandla. Nekwekuthi ke asikwenda injwayelo lokuthi sihlole nje tindlu tethu ukuthi adide ama cracks yini.
As the country had started receiving first rains, marking the beginning of the summer season, the Maswati must ensure structural integrity of their houses, especially the thick and mud structures. The Maswati must also ensure that their roofing is at proper standards to withstand extreme weather conditions such as heavy rains and storms. We also encourage the Maswati to refrain from crossing overflowing rivers.
Dear viewers, now take a look at our financial updates.
Standard Bank. It can be.
Welcome back. You're still watching Eswatini TV. We begin our sports roundup with football, where the Southern Super League under the Hoho Regency's newly promoted side Amawele starting the new season on a high note with 2 wins and 2 games. Team head coach Sibusiso Dlamini says the main objective of the team this season is to maintain their position and avoid relegation.
We begin our sports roundup with football, where the Southern Super League under the Hoho region sees newly promoted side Amawela starting the new season on a high note with 2 wins in 2 games. Team head coach Sibusiso Dlamini says the main objective of the team this season is to maintain their position and avoid relegation. At the moment, they are not pressurizing themselves over promotion to the National First Division.
Super League then ngekuhamba kwesikhathi sitawubona ukuthi tiyavuma yini tibalo tetfu ukuthi singa-challenge for i-promotion.
We taking each game at a time.
Team players Mfanzile Nkambule and Njabulo Makomo are speaking the same language with their head coach. The 2 players believe taking a game each at a time will bear good results. Having won 2 games is a sign of how committed they are as a team. Their last league encounter, Amawele won against Shooting Stars by 3-1. Moving on to rugby, Communication Officer of Eswatini Rugby Union, Pumulile Kumete, says different programs to develop both men and women football continue in the country. Kumete says the main target in the beginning was the under-17 and under-19, but now they have moved to senior citizens. And in our international news, Brazil and Al Hilal star Neymar Jr. is likely to be out for about 10 months due to a knee injury that he suffered during the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers against Uruguay when Brazil lost 2-0. The 31-year-old is expected to go in surgery soon. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabiso Msonela, Mbawani.
That is all we had for tonight, but before we wrap up, we'll take a quick recap of today's headlines. The Ministry of Home Affairs has announced that there will be free transport for a Maswati who will be attending Sibaya next week, Monday. The Principal Secretary in the Deputy Prime Minister's office, Melusi Masugu, says the government of Eswatini is determined to support and better the lives of children from child-headed families. The Parliament of Eswatini has oriented members of Parliament on standing orders and the country's constitution. That brings us to the end of our news bulletin tonight. Up next is the weather forecast for selected towns. Good night, Eswatini.